recording here, so I will
Fantastic.
let you get cracking.
I'll remove that down here so we have full screen as well.
Great.
So this is the front page by default, so to speak, at least if you have access to the jobs.
Yep.
The jobs here is when you log in and you're an engineer, you'll only have the engineering jobs. When you log in as a chief officer, you'll just have the jobs for the bridge and so on. The captain, he'll see everything, so he can make sure that everything is done correctly. And what we have tried to do with new programming is to make so you have the fewest amount of clicks to get anywhere.
Perfect.
So we want to put as much information here on the front screen, so you don't really need crew training, because as we're doing right now, I'm showing the software, showing the different possibilities. But of course, if your engineer, he forgot all my terrible jokes and my instructions in 3 months or 6 months how to do anything, he can watch a tutorial. In every feature, there's a small tutorial, 2 or 3 minutes, explaining all the possibilities in the feature that you're working within. So add a planned job, quite simple. Choose what equipment you want. I'll just create one here. We'll just say maintenance, and we'll say clean. What frequency are we working within? Running hours, or is it days? Repeating jobs, yes, we're just gonna say 24. And if you post that, then we've now created a new job.
Oh, nice.
Then you can create a checklist if you want. We create all of this for the vessels we set up. And we do that from the service manual. So you can see now we've created this checklist here. We put in the service manuals, the drawings, everything.
Oh, wow.
So I'm gonna go to a actual job so you can see how it looks. If we just take one of maybe the bigger ones. As you can see here, I'm a terrible engineer on my boat. I'm over 100 jobs behind. Usually, you should not have that many. So, of course, if you want to see into the future, you can go in here. Do jobs is what it is by default. It will show what jobs is due for the day or was due yesterday. If you want to see complete into the future, press the completed jobs. Say, okay, you can see the green ones, and then you can start filtering it either by date or by hours if you want to see that. Sure. And then you can kind of see what's on schedule for next week. If we just let's just take this. Yeah. So this is a 6-month service of the gearbox. You have the information of the job. You have here in the drop-down menu what you need to do. Conduct visual inspection, and if it's a completely new guy you have on board, he can see conduct visual inspection, see page 1, and then page 1 of the service manual will be linked. Same with the other pages here. So they can just press on it, and then they can see the service manual, and then it's fully laid out for them. So it's very nice when they have handover terms, because then someone has to get familiar with the program. And again, if it's someone who's never worked with YMP, I like to think as YMP as self-explanatory. Like, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to figure out where to go. But of course, you can always watch the tutorial and it will explain everything.
Excellent.
Over here, you have the checklist that you simply check out when you run through it. If you want to see some previous history, you can see the previous job history here, which is the specific 6-month service for the gearbox. You can search. Just like in a Word document, if you knew there was a failure 6 months ago, you search for failure, and then it will highlight it so you can see the previous reports, or you can print them out. You also have full equipment history. So this is every maintenance job on the gearbox, where the job is the specific job that we're in 6-month service. And then you have the full history. When you run through, you simply check the boxes. As you can see, as soon as I check it off, the note will automatically come down in the service report. So the engineers don't have to write their own. If they want to, of course, they can write their own notes if there's something out of the ordinary. But hopefully they just run through to check all the boxes. They can upload a photo. If they're on the iPad or phone, they can take it straight away, or they can just drag one in from the library. Spare parts, you update. Okay, I haven't linked my spare parts to this specific jobs, but then they can update and say, we've used 2 of these, 3 of these. That way the inventory over here will automatically update and can tell you when you need to reorder.
Very nice.
Then they simply say, we have done this job today, and then we submit that job. Job submitted, and then that goes straight into the reports. And this is where you have all of your maintenance reports for the entire vessel, bridge and everything. You can filter it by specific department if you want to see only the bridge or engineering, if that's the report you're looking for.
Nice.
Or by specific equipment if you have a survey or you need to show some warranties or that you've done all the proper maintenance. Of course, you can filter it across every department and equipment and just choose some dates and then create that report and print it out and email it to yourself. So this is every work history that we have. Jump back to the jobs here. Here I've chosen some information here. You can see model number and if it's critical equipment or not, you can filter it by that. You can choose up here how many settings, how many table headers you kind of want to see at the front page. You can just remove them if you don't want to.
Sure.
And then you'll get some more space here.
Oh, nice.
You can have the setting in different ways. I like the menu bar on the left and then the black background. If you like it in a different way, you can have the navigation on top. Then it will look like this. And then you can also have it in a white theme. I like it better when it's on the left and in a dark theme. I think it's easier to see. But I've sat with older engineers that have said both with the white and dark, that's better for my eyes. So I guess it's different from each person,
Sure.
But every user can set the setting to whatever they like.
Very nice.
So that's the PMS part, and I hope it seems pretty simple.
Yeah,
so
no,
far.
very straightforward.
Because you don't need to pay for crew training, because all you need to do is watch the tutorials, and then you're familiar with it. And we kind of want intuitiveness has been our main goal, to make it as easy as possible. So if I go too fast, just tell me to shut up and slow down.
It's I'm following you right along with you, bud.
Fantastic. I'll jump straight to the logbooks here. So we have 6 logbooks that we put in by default, and that will be navigational logbook, garbage record, DMGSS, official logbook, all record and crew list of Cayman Islands. And all 6 of them are fully compliant with all flag states.
Oh,
so they
very
can
nice.
be used as digital logbooks.
Excellent. So during an onboard, audit or survey, they can pull this up and they don't need to have a physical, oil record book. That'll suffice.
Same with navigational logbook. They can I can try and jump in if you want to see it. So of course, signature required on this one from the captain, or if it's in a bigger boat, they give permission for the chief officer to take care of that. But it basically looks like the paper format, just simply in an online, and then they can fill that out, submit it, and then print it out or email it to the incoming harbor. And then same with crew list and guest list. So it will work fully as a digital logbook. And it was difficult to get compliant with all of it, but luckily everyone in the industry are pretty on board that within the next 5-10 years, like everywhere else in the world, things are going to be digitalized and it's going to happen online. That the paper are on the way out. The logbooks that we do not create is the engine room logbook. And we did that in the beginning, but then the engineers came and said that every engine room is different, and I like to have different logbooks. Some of them like to make a 12 o'clock, a 2 o'clock, a 4 o'clock, because that way they can see like the different changes throughout the day. And also when they're in the engine room, if I go to manage here, this is where we create our logbooks. We can jump into this one. They can go in and change the order. So when they walk through their engine room with their iPad or iPhone, it comes in a chronologically order. That way they only have to spend 2 or 3 minutes doing their daily rounds, filling out all of this information.
Very nice.
And I know some of them like to have a logbook for when they're at shipyard or dry dock, or one when they're at sea, because then it's different. This way they can customize exactly what they want. And it's the same for the bridge. They can go in and create some logbooks for the stewardess or deckhands if they have to do anything.
I love that. Very vessel specific. You can create as many as you want to, I would imagine.
Yeah. You can. these are all things I've done like through demo, or where some of the guys that has been running with the demo has tried to create their own just to see if they could figure out how to do it. But if we jump into this one and then say we would like a new logbook item, you simply give it a name, say we would like it to be a field, text box or text area, or a checkbox.
Nice.
Depending on what it is and what unit are we working in here. And then you simply add. And you create it, and it will come down at the bottom, the one we just created here. And then you can move it to wherever you want. So it's very, very simple to create these logbooks. And then the vessel can create specific ones for their jobs. And if the engineer is in and he fills out 50% of the logbook and then he goes out, it will automatically save to the draft. Just like when we write emails and we get pulled away or we need to restock the coffee, then it goes to our draft immediately.
Sure.
Exactly the same here. Then they can come back and view it and then fill out the rest whenever they have the time.
Very nice.
And then, of course, you can search in your logbooks, just like search engine, search for some specific notes, or you can filter it by dates, and then you can print out those logbooks if you need that. Any questions for logbooks? Otherwise, I'll jump on. Or does it seem straightforward?
No, pretty straightforward.
Fantastic. I'll just jump through. Equipment. I won't spend too much time here because this is basically just where you have all of your equipment lists and where you go into to add your equipment. One thing that we've done a little bit of change is, again, because one of the engineers told us I'm more of a visual kind of guy and I hate sitting and scrolling through and looking for whatever equipment I'm looking for. So he asked if we could set up a picture where he could just press and then say, I would like to see the main engine. And then you simply press the main engine and then you're there.
Oh, nice.
And we can set up these pictures with any sort of equipment, aircon or sewage or whatever you want. It's the owner that likes to nerd around with that. So we can set up anything you want. Inside the job, or inside the equipment, you have, of course, the information. You have the service manual, parts manual, specs, all the jobs where this equipment is included. Then, of course, you can have equipment inventory, old service reports that we can upload to it, or if you, of course, need to upload some new documents to this. And then all the history over here, where you can, again, search for specific notes if you're looking for something.
Does it have like on the history or if there's a input, like a timestamp, or is there like who maybe modified a file last, or is there a way to if I wanted to track which engineer is adding what, is there ability to see that or no?
You think here submitted by, this is me.
Oh, okay, I got it, yep.
Daily maintenance, October 24th, submitted by me.
Oh, perfect.
And because I'm the one, because we were asked, can if you make a mistake or you forgot to put it in whatever note you were forgetting, can you edit previous reports? And it got kind of tricky because actually legally you're not supposed to go in and be able to delete.
Yeah,
because
you can only
of course
strike.
if someone gets fired, he will screw the boat over and go over and delete everything. So what we did was, because I'm the one who made this is me and I'm logged in as on my profile, I can actually edit. And then if I say I would not want this round here, I would want something called new here. Then I save. You can see it only set as a line over the stuff I've edited here.
Yeah, it just shows
and then
the strike.
Yeah, so that's the old report, and then that's the new report where I deleted this note and wrote new. So you'll always be able to see what originally was in. So you can never fully delete anything. The user can never fully delete, and it can only be done by the user who originally created the report.
Okay.
But of course, if you are planning on getting someone off board, you can immediately go into crew, choose who it is, and then remove employee. And then he will not be able to log in.
Oh, very nice.
So, and whoever's admin can go in and remove employees. They can go in and make sure what access does this crew member have access to, because of course the stewardess doesn't need to have access to the engine room. So you can remove some of those, simply press, and then this feature will not be visible for this user anymore. So it is quite simple, but of course we saw the idea that it would be nice to be able to add some notes if you forgot to put something in. So we wanted to make that possibility without giving anyone the full option to delete everything. So it was a little bit tricky, but I think we got around it quite nice.
Yes, you did. Very well played on that.
And then, of course, we've set up the picture here. You want to see the tenders, simply press in. Now you have the tenders. Out here on the front, we can actually go straight to it from here. If you want to add new equipment, go to Manage Equipment, and then you simply put in the names. We do offer, when the boats buy total installation from us, which 9 out of 10 boats buy, where we set up everything, the jobs, the equipment, inventory, and everything, we also offer to, free of charge, update your system when you get new equipment or new crew members or whatever new data you would like to put in. We'll do that free of charge. All you have to do is send it to us and we'll update it. And the reason we do that is because we want our database with service manuals and part manuals. We want those manuals for every equipment out there, because then in 10 years time, when someone comes along and say, we would like YMP, we have FedShip, we have Caterpillar, we can say, thanks, we have everything we need. You'll be set up in 2 weeks.
Very nice.
Which will be a lot easier, because the biggest task, so to speak, to get a boat up and running is, we've actually learned, it's not how quickly we can do it, it's how quickly can the boat get all the files digital and send it our way on a Google Drive or whatever.
Right.
And then we learned that, okay, a lot of the time it actually takes multiple months. So we just said, whatever you have now, send it to us, we'll set it up, and then you can start running with it. And then when you get the new data down the way, just send it to us. Or if you have a shipyard period and you get some new equipment, send it to us, we'll update it for you, free of charge.
Very nice.
Here in the equipment, you can also go in and view just the critical equipment that will be highlighted with yellow. All of it will be here. Once a week, there will be a job to remind them. Once a week, one of the guys on board, most likely the engineer, he'll go in and update the equipment hours. And he does all the equipment on one page here. So simply go in, instead of 100, now we're on 50, we're on 100, and then so on, and then save it. That way the system knows what jobs need to come in what order and how long you've been out at sea. Any questions so far for equipment?
No, I'm very impressed. It's a very simple platform, but very effective. It's checking all the boxes.
Exactly, and it's been difficult to get to that point. It took us only 10 years, so a very quick fix to get here. The owner thought it would take a year or two, and then now 10 years later, we are there. So here, inventory. This is, I think, in my opinion, our strongest attribute. This is where we can help save the most amount of time for especially the engineers. So on the front here, you'll have all inventory across the entire boat. Coffee machine, coffee maker, you can have everything on here. Of course, you have the different settings here. I showed you earlier, you can choose what sort of table headers you want to have on the front page. See, when they're red, they're asking me to reorder because I'm getting close to my minimum amount. So the minimum amount is what the boat has said. We want minimum 10 piston pins on board.
Sure.
And total amount held is what we have now. So that way you can see we need to reorder. So let's just say we only had 9 of these. So now it's red. We'll say add. Added to basket. It's just like ordering a pair of shoes for the wife at home. Checkout. And then you choose, is it an order or is it ask for, or a quote we're asking for? We're just going to take a quote. Then they can CC, captain, US management, whoever needs to be involved when they do purchasing. We're just going to say send quote, and then they choose the supplier. And in here we have over a couple of 100 suppliers, everyone known to us, used by our 100 boats at the moment.
Yeah.
If you guys have a supplier that is not there, it will take us 10 seconds to put them in. If the boat have a specific guy from a company they're dealing with, we can set up the email to him, so it goes directly to him.
That's impressive.
Now I'll just I'll just choose myself because this is actual supplier. So I can't. I don't have room for any more main engines in my garage here. So well, better not order more of those. Then they simply submit the order, and then an email is being sent directly to that supplier with the boat name, the info, the email of the crew member who sent it, and then of course the actual order. So, and then a little bit of time will go by. When they receive the spare parts again, instead of having to manually do it, they go to order history, where we can see this is my outstanding orders. And we're gonna say this piston pin, we have received this, yes, we are sure. Okay, and then we're back up to 10. So the system automatically updates. They don't have to manually send out emails, and when they receive it, they can just simply let the system know, I've received this order, and then it will update across the inventory.
You guys have thought of everything. That's impressive.
But this, I'm not going to take credit. This was an engineer where I asked him, what's the most time-consuming job that you do? I'm not sure he was telling the truth, but I think in his head, he said every once a month, I'll spend a whole day looking at what part, what model number, what part number, what supplier, and then send out 3 emails because we had to get 3 quotes and that sort of thing. And he hated admin work. She was like, is there any way you guys can help out with that? And then we came up, we just made it possible to order spare parts directly from here.
That's amazing.
Of course, if they want to go into the different departments and equipment, they can go in on the spare parts, and then we can start filtering it a little bit more. Maybe we want to see just the generator and crankshaft assembly. And then you search, then you get the picture, the number coding, and then of course the different spare parts that's in here, and then they can order as well directly from there.
That is so awesome.
So again, quite simple as we go through it. I'm pretty sure if I gave you the computer now and asked you to go in and find some spare parts and order it, you'd immediately be able to do it.
Yeah. And
we've only been together for 5-10 minutes during this. And that's the whole idea with it. That we want to be able to do as more than everyone else can do, but it needs to be able to be done in a simpler way. Because all these programs are great, but if they're not being used, they are not worth anything. And if it's too complicated to use, over time, the crew members just are not going to use it.
Yeah.
So it needs to be like Apple, where everything can be learned by a toddler and takes 2 or 3 minutes to do. Because it is scary when you see a 3-year-old sitting with an iPad, but I guess that's because it's a simple platform.
Or let me tell you, man, I couldn't tell you how many times I've sat down on board with a 50-year plus chief engineer to try to go over software, and they're just like, after 15 minutes, their eyes have glazed over, and they're thinking of something completely different.
And exactly, look, if your head has been focused on something else for 50 years, and then all of a sudden you have to sit and do 20 clicks to get to where you like, you're not going to be able to remember those 20 clicks.
Yeah.
And that's too many options. So that was the whole idea. Luckily, our owner, he's been in the industry plus 35 years as an engineer, as crew agent for engineers. So he gave out free demos to all the older engineers he knew and asked, and gave them a few jobs, like, can you fill out this job? Can you add an unplanned job? Can you do this sort of thing? Just to test out, to see how it was. But luckily, they were not as quick as the rest of us. They had to look a little bit more specific. But again, we learned that when we put everything on the front page here, they will find a way, because they'll just go through them one by one until they find what they're looking for.
Yeah.
And that's the idea. I think we've been through everything here on. Yeah, you can press here on the spare part where you can link it to the jobs. You can upload some pictures. You can write some more details about this if you'd like. There we go. Of course, if you need to add new spare parts, that's the plus sign here, and then you just start filling in the information that you have. Price, if you have critical item, expiration date, if there is an expiration date on it, and then you simply add it. Fantastic. Reports, we've been through that. Calendar, calendar. Well, it's definitely not the most sexy feature in our software yet. it works just like a normal crew calendar. They can make it public, they can make it private if it's just for themselves, or you can make it department specific. The reason we've put in the calendar is because we're currently working on getting the PMS part integrated in a calendar format.
Okay.
So instead of the drop-down menu you see up like we saw in jobs, the engineer will actually be able to go down in the calendar and then see the jobs as well for the bridge, so they can see what are the jobs for the entire week. Because, well, if they get done with every job on Monday, they might be able to start on Tuesday, so they can get a little bit ahead. So that's why we created the calendar, of course, as a normal calendar as well. But we're working on getting the jobs integrated in a calendar format.
Very nice.
Crew, we've been through. Yeah, you can do your payroll in here as well. We've already been through the different access you can give. Payroll. That's a new feature. That's why I haven't done any payroll for my employees. Also, my employees are David Beckham and Peter Schmeichel. I'm a Manchester United fan and Danish, so of course Peter Schmeichel had to be my captain when I started. So this is just a fake book, but you guys can do the payroll, or the captain can do the payroll straight on. Under the crew members here, they can have their photos, they can have contract certificates with expiration dates, so you can make sure that the crew are up to date on their certificates as well.
Is there a dashboard feature just for, like, say, crew? Like if I have crew, say their ENG1's expiring in 30 days, is there a notification feature like on a dashboard for this particular site?
We are getting our downloadable app.
Okay.
So, well, it's two ways I can answer the question. Regarding the notification, when the app comes out, it will be January, maybe late February. That's our timeline that I got from our programmers last, that the app will be out, and then you'll be able to get notifications just like from WhatsApp or Instagram or whatever on ship certificates, on crew certificates, on jobs that are coming to the last day.
Yep.
And regarding with the overview of the certificates across the fleet, yes, you can. I'll show you that when we come to the management feature.
Perfect.
Then you can see across the entire fleet. Same with the hours of rest. That will be in by METS, but I'll show you that when we come to it.
Perfect.
Here is just all the info for the crew members.
Yep.
Contract, emergency contract, payroll, that sort of thing. When your captain is going to go in up here, he does the on and off board.
Okay.
So he decides who is on, who is off. And when he goes to crew list, the system automatically generates the crew list of everyone that's on board or listed as on board. Then they can have their ship stamp. And then if there's guest on board, simply press attach guest list, and then that will automatically come in. I just have a trial guest here, as you can see.
Yeah, nice.
And then authorized agent, that is my captain, Peter Schmeichel. And then they can email or print this crew and guest list out directly to the harbor, or print it out and give it.
Perfect.
Guest, very, very simple. I won't spend too much time here. Add new guest, put in their information. Recently we were asked, can you put in a small note field at the bottom where we can write whatever we want? Because a lot of these guests, they have some funny quirks, afraid of birds, or allergic to fish, or don't like loud noises, or whatever it might be that you want the crew to be aware of. I could definitely see the point for the chef to see if there was any allergies or something.
Yeah.
Then he'll be able to just go into the guest list, and then he can see all the allergies on the guests here. And of course, he can have access on his phone, so he doesn't have to go up and get a computer. He can just do it from the kitchen.
Very nice.
So that's the guest. Very, very simple.
Yep.
Vessel docs. This is definitely where we spend, or our data entry guys spend most of the time when they set up a boat. This is the bank of all the service manuals, the diagrams, every sort of paper. I think just on my boat, which is a demo, there's 3,000 files. On bigger boats, it's a lot more, but everything will be in here. Ship certificates will be under here, and then they can see expiration. Mine is expired, and that's why they're red. They'll be white if they're not. So these are one of the features that'll be able to give notifications in the app. the reason it's taking a bit long, we are hoping to finish it by the end of this year, but we're currently working with that some of the management companies, they would like that the first notification is being sent to the chief officer 3 months before it expires, and then 2 months before both the captain and chief officer get a notification, and then 1 month before management, captain, and the chief officer get a notification. Yeah. And apparently that's more difficult than we previously expected to program. Of course, that is a question for the intelligent people in the company, which is not me. I was brought in for my good looks and smile. So for all the difficult questions, I passed them on to the programmers. But that's why we're a little bit delayed on the app. But those are the notifications that you'll be able to receive and kind of set them in what way you want. Because we don't want to be in charge of who gets the notifications. We want you guys to decide that.
Of course.
So you can, of course, set your own, that this is the guy that's going to get it 3 months before, this is the guy 1 month before, and then a couple of weeks before, we're all going to get one. So that way we make sure that we can get our new certificates before the last one expires. Of course, Veselox, again, we'll create all these folders, we'll put in all the different drawings and manuals. You can go in and create a new folder, and you can create as many subfolders as possible. And trust me, you will not be able to fill out how much space is in here. I know on the 90 meters, they have gone absolutely crazy, and they asked us before, can we fill it out? And I can't remember how much space we got, because it was numbers and words I've never heard before from the programmers. But at least they told the ship, we'll give you a prize if you guys pull it to max capacity. So no worries on that part. But this is basically just like folders on your computer where you have all the information. ISM has pretty much the same setup. Besides that, it's, of course, you'll have your checklist. If we go in, you can see the different accident anchoring. I don't know, is there a specific ISM form you would like to see that maybe you have a look more at than others?
Just your daily checks, your safety checks, all of that kind of stuff. I'm interested in your risk assessments. If you have any that pre-filled in, your permits to work. If your hot work permits to work are linked to anything in the PMS, sends out an automated email to your insurance, not allowing all that stuff to happen prior to approvals, etc.
Let me see, because I know it's some of the ones, because obviously we don't have a management company on our fake boat here. We do have a permit to work aloft ISM form that will look like this. So we've pretty much taken the paper forms and just put in like once a week. Again, so it's nothing new for the crew members to fill them out. They just do it here on a computer or iPad instead. Then, of course, you can create your own ISM forms if you want. Same way that you can give this like a text area or a checkbox that is being done here. Mm-hmm. If we go out, view forms, and then add new form. This is where you create them. Just like adding a new logbook, like you saw earlier. It works the same way. And then, the 6 that will be in by default is checklist, drills, emergency procedures. Oh, that's 2 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I think hot work was one. System drawings were the one I put in later on. These are the 6 that will be here. Obviously, there's 2 of these right now.
Sure.
But those are the ones that we'll put in. So as long as you guys provide us with the files, we'll create them for you and we'll put it in the system for you guys. That's the ISM. Let's jump to accounting. Actually, let me use our test one for this, because they made a lot more accounting on this than I have done on mine. So you see, I just switched to another demo boat called Bearport, which is the same ability you'll have if Fairport have 2 or 3 vessels using YMP. You can switch between them and then have all their data.
Oh, nice.
So in here, you can see totally monthly expense, totally yearly expense, the different suppliers. We basically tried to put in everything that we knew that some of the boats would be using. Mm-hmm. And then You have everything here in the front. If we want to go and generate a specific report, you can do a report by one supplier or one category, department, source of payment, or we can just say we would like the report for Q1. So we'd like to generate that, and then it will come down here in a color coding format, and then in an Excel. Well, I call this an Excel format, but obviously you can see what it is. So you can generate whatever report you want, and then of course you'll be able to print them out and email them to yourself.
Very nice.
You can see it here. Simply email it to whoever needs to get it, or the owner can go in directly himself. To add a new, let me go back. I only have the online version because this is not actually a real boat, so sometimes it's a bit slow. Sure. It works on and offline as well. Offline, it has a response time on 0.43 or something. It always changes, but and I told them for normal people like us, we won't notice the difference from 0.4 to 0.3 or something. But they are very happy every time they get it down a couple of milliseconds. If you want to add new expense, it's the plus sign. You put in the suppliers, the date, the amount, different data that you want in, and then you can take a photo of the receipt either with your phone, or you can upload one from your library if you have a previous one.
Got it.
The two currencies that we've added is euros and dollars. If you guys work in a currency that is neither one of the two that you work in more often, we can add that in, so it will be in that currency. We just learned that 9 out of 10 times it's going to be either in euro or dollars for most of the time. Yeah. So this is the accounting. I know that you were quite interested in that. Does that seem simple and something that could actually help you guys as well, or the vessels on board?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think, the framework of basically everything that we use is there, adding expenses, tracking, is there a budgeting template inside here, like to do a budget or?
Yeah, we are working on it as we speak now. So what we'd like to do, or what we're working towards in getting is that you set up by the budget for the engineering department, and then when someone add an expense and choose the engineering department, it will automatically take the money from the budget, or at least show it so the engineers on board can see how much money do I have to work with.
Yeah.
So they don't have to calculate that themselves.
Yeah. So that's always been a bit of a challenge, right? So from my perspective, as a yacht manager, I will sit down with the captain to prepare the monthly budget. Obviously, we have a yearly budget, but I like to do a monthly budget. That captain he or she should sit down with their engineers, their HODs from the deck, etc., interiors, see what they're going to need for that particular month, and then we sit down at the table. We have a chart of accounts that we work through, and we calculate costs for that month in those categories. Then that funding request is sent to the owners. Owners will either then fund the entire funding request, or they'll only send us partial. And by sending us partial, what are they approving? That will then allow us to have an idea of what monies we're working from. But where the challenge from us, from my perspective, is that tracking costs seem to be so say we budgeted $15,000 or $10,000 in engineering for the month of November. Here we are, November the 7th or 8th, whatever the date is today. The engineer's already spent $7,000, but he or she doesn't know that they've spent that yet, because you know what I mean? So that's the challenge, right? And so where my pinch points with owners is when I sit down and do a budget versus actual, and go through where we budgeted under budgeted or over budgeted on certain things. And that has been the biggest challenge. And I think what I really like about your software is just from the engineering side of things, being able to order spare parts, have the tracking there, the quoting ability, because sometimes we need to show the owners the why we're looking for this particular, you know what I mean? So these things are all important. So I'm very impressed with what I'm seeing.
Yeah, and as you said, that is the difficult part in accounting, is to get the system to do everything automatically. And what we also wanted, because when we were in the notification kind of stage with the app, we wanted the accounting to give notification if, again, you have over exceeded your budget, or if you're close to over exceeding your budget, just kind of to give a heads up to both management and the engineer or the departments that you're getting closer. And that was just more difficult than we originally thought.
Sure.
To get the system to do it themselves. But we are working on you guys being able to set and say the different department has this budget, and when they ever add an expense, it'll automatically minus the budget. So then everyone that have access to the software can see what are the budgets on how much money is left.
If you guys if you guys can get that figured out, you've got a winner, like a big winner on your hands.
That is what we are hoping for as well. We're also working with because we know Volley, they give those like a MasterCard, like a credit card that they can use, and then it goes directly to the software. And we would like that as well. But of course, that takes some more approval from banks and so on. Right. And since we're not really an accounting company, it was a little bit of a different way we had to do it. Again, it's not on my table, but I know we're working towards it. But the accounting came out only 8-9 months ago. So we've been working very hard on getting that to be just as great a feature as we think some of our other features have. So of course, this has been one of the features where we've been getting a lot of feedback the last 8-9 months on how to do it better. Sure. And these are the final stages: the budget, the notification, and then the possibility to have a credit card or a card that you can just use, and it goes directly into the budget here. Yeah. Those are things that we're hoping to accomplish within the next 6 months or so. Of course, when you are a client with YMP, all new features that comes along is free. They're updated for free. We're simply going to send you an email, say there's this new feature, go in and have a look, and then when you refresh your system, it will be down here in the bottom, or where we've chosen to place it, and then you can start working with it. So you don't pay for every module or new features. If you're a client, you get all the benefits, and you get everything that we can offer. Because that's how we've done the pricing so far. That no matter what package you buy, you get all features, you get unlimited users. The only difference is how much do you want us to populate? How much do you want us to integrate for you?
Sure.
Because we know that's the big task, and we try to make it so cheap that everyone will choose to have us set it up, because that way we know it's going to be set up the right way. Yeah. You guys don't have to do anything. You can just sit back and follow the process, and then we're going to give you the thumbs up, and then you'll start working with it. Because we just heard, I've been on a lot of boats that have idea, and we've changed a lot from idea, and it's always the same story. Yeah. We never got fully set up. We only used 10-20%. Yeah. It's very complicated, so there's only one guy on board that uses it because he's worked with it before. Yeah. And so I just said to the owner, we need to make sure that those things are not going to be said about us, because in yachting, word of mouth is all that matters, and reputation. Right. It's all that matters here. So great accounting. I'll jump down to our newest fee. Oh, I don't have nothing. Let me jump back to my boat. This is just an accounting boat. Thank you. And then Shipyard. So this is our version of Pinpoint. So when you're at Shipyard, you'll have all the files here. You can go in and then allocate the jobs in here, press, then you'll get straight into the job. You'll have the different management that's involved, the different crew, and the different contractors, of course. When you go through job history, this is like I've just created here a couple of weeks ago. This launched just before the Monaco Yacht Show, so it's quite new as well. Simply say now we're at 70% in work status, upload a photo, serve reports, submit it. But if I submit this job, everyone that's involved in this job or in this shipyard period will get an email saying Lasse has finished while I'm on the clean tank deck. So everyone will be notified that this is done. If we're not fully done, we're only 70%, I save the draft, and then it will just simply update out on the front page. There we go. So you can see here we have the different jobs, 80%, 70%, 100%, and so on. You can link your normal regular PMS jobs or day-to-day jobs, because even though you're at shipyard, the engineer still have some of the daily checks that he has to do or service that he has to do. So you can simply go in and link to job, select an equip, so choose what equipment it is and choose what job it is, and then link it into it. At job, this is where you add a completely new job for the shipyard period. So this way, you guys don't have to spend money on Pinpoint. It works the exact same way. And then, of course, you'll have full maintenance reports of all shipyard periods that you have throughout using YMP. Have you worked yourself with Pinpoint before, or have you had ships using it?
Yeah, no, I was involved in a shipyard end of last year where Pinpoint was involved. It was my first time ever, working with Pinpoint. I did set in through a meeting much like what we're doing now with the guys from Pinpoint, and it was very impressive. I think it's a good software.
It is. It definitely is. It's Pinpoint is fantastic.
Any software that a captain is willing to use. I have a boat right now in a 15-year, and the captain doesn't even have a work list, to track a way to track it. He's wanting to put a spreadsheet together. I said, that's fine. I said, give me something that we can at least track as these jobs are going. Like I would love for him to have this on board right now.
Yeah, exactly. And look, Pinpoint is fantastic. That's why we thought we want that as well.
Yeah.
And then our clients don't have to pay for Pinpoint.
100%.
And luckily, the owner has worked with Pinpoint before, so he knew kind of what it was. So we just tried to get that in as well. Again, we want to try and put every software that's out in yachting into our software. So all you really need to run a boat or manage a boat or to go to a shipyard is YMP. That's the whole idea.
I'm seeing that. I'm seeing the little bits and pieces of different softwares that I've worked with over the years included into your system. Very well done. And
that is only because we invented the programming language ourselves. That's why on our website, all of our tutorials is actually online and public for everyone to see, because we know even though our competitors see all these features, they simply do not have the possibility to put them in theirs because they're restricted to the template that they purchased 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So they don't have the same lenience and freedom to add features. And then we just want to give every information that we can on our website as well, simply because we don't want to hide anything. So all of our prices, all the videos, they're online, they're on our website, which I also know we're one of the only ones that have our prices online, which I thought was crazy first time I started in the industry. Because, but again, every company is their own, and everyone has their own opinion on how things should be done.
Sure.
So that's fair enough. Last feature here, charter, very, very simple. We just quickly put it in for everyone to be able to see the charter schedules and the plans at charter, put in, port of departure, charter and country of departure, port of arrival, so on, start date, end date, post it, and then you have it. Very, very simple.
I love it.
Just so everyone can see. I think the only one we haven't been through is hours of rest. Of course, you have your timesheet, you have your tutorial, and you can submit the month. When you add your work, you simply press, hold, and then you drag down. If you're on your iPhone or iPad, you press and then you hold for 2 seconds, and then a small circle will come here in the bottom, and then you can drag that down.
Got it.
And add the work hours. And then, of course, you have the timesheet here. My crew, of course, does not go in and do hours of rest because it's not a real boat and it's all the guys running with the demo. So here you'll be able to see the entire crew timesheet. You'll also be able to see that if we go to management, and then we'll choose our own here. So this is what you will see as management. So of course, instead of YMP management, it will say Fairport Global, it will say JP, and then you will have the boats that you're managing and using YMP here. So you'll be able to switch between the boats, simply press, and then we'll see the name up here changed, and then all the data out here will be for that specific boat. So then you can go in and pull out your reports, you check your accounting, all of that. From the front dashboard, you'll be able to see all users across your fleet, all certificates across the entire fleet, all licenses across the entire fleet, all passports, and then the crew hours of rest. And that will be in there in the next 2 weeks. I was told 2 weeks at the beginning of this because I want it to be in when I go to Mets, so I can show that. So by the time the system will be on pieces, you'll be able to see that for sure. But I can send you a text when in there as well if you want to have a look. So this is our kind of management feature that we've set up for Hill & Robinson, Campbell Nicholson, the guys that have multiple boats using YMP at the moment, Ocean Independence as well as then you'll have everything. I don't know are there any other features or information that you would like to see here on the front dashboard that kind of goes across the fleet instead of having to go in and switch to each specific boat and then go in and find it, because that's what helped you guys save some time. Sure. But I don't know if there's anything we're missing. Just off top of your head, if there's something you were sitting there thinking, I would have loved to have seen this.
I mean, things that I typically look for when I'm clicking or going to a dashboard is if there's any, I'm a certified DPA and CSO, so if there's any ISM, documents that need to be signed, like DPA, ISO documents that have been submitted, that need my signature or something, that would that would be a nice feature to see, pop up there. But I mean, I think you guys have done a good job.
Oh, that's actually a great idea, because if the crew has some ISM forms that need your signature, it would be like if let's say you have 5 vessels using YMP and they all text you in the same week or same day that we've just submitted some ISM forms that need your signature.
Yep.
It would be a lot quicker for you if you just had one here called ISM forms. And then go in, and then just like a certificate, you can see like it's red if it's missing signature. Correct. And then you can do it all in one go instead of having to switch between the 5 boats. That's a great idea. And that came off to the top of your head, JP. That was very impressive. Usually we work with people for a couple of months before they get some feedback to us. That was great. ISM signature on management, fantastic. And again, I don't know if it's possible or not. That's for the clever people in the company. But I love calling them and testing them, and they love to be tested as well. They're fantastic programmers, those guys. And I have a call we have a call with everyone here at the end of the week. So I'll talk with the owner. If I cannot see why he would not think this is a great idea as well. So I think it comes down to the programmers, if it's actually possible or not, and how long it will take. But we'll definitely I'll definitely put it on the table for sure.
I think you guys have done a fantastic job of this. I'm glad I recorded this. I'm going to share it with my director. Even with just the accounting alone, I think is something that I would want on all my boats, much less everything else that you guys have to offer. So
I'm glad to hear that, because accounting is not the sexiest feature in my opinion. It's not why I sweep the legs away, that's for sure. But okay, of course that's the engineers and stuff. They like all the other parts. But I'm glad that the accounting is getting there, because that is what we've been working on here in 2024, to get that up to date, and to be able to do as much as other accounting apps. I'm very, very glad to hear that.
Yeah, I think you did a great job with this. If there's
let me show you
go ahead.
The different pricing as well. Just so I don't know if you've checked the pricing on our website.
I haven't checked it, but I did know the pricing. Steve had given me a heads up on the what you guys had offered for this.
Great. I'll just put it. Do you want me to go through it, or do you want to do it in your own time on the website?
Yeah, you can go through it. No, it's fine.
Okay, great. So the yearly fee, one time a year, $650, and that gives you all features, unlimited users, and of course no hidden charter fees.
Yep.
So that all features included means when we add new features, you'll get them free of charge, or it's included in the $650. Basic installation, that is if you want us to do nothing. So have I had anyone? No, I don't think I've had anyone personally. Even at 25 meter I sold to, they paid us to set it up. Sure. This is where you just get an empty program, and then the boat have to set up everything themselves.
Yeah.
I would not recommend that. Complete installation is just the engine room. So machinery and engine room manuals, that's what we set up.
Yep.
Total installation, this is 9.9 out of 10 that purchase this, because this is where we set up everything, and we also have free updates for, well, lifetime. As long as you use YMP, we'll update it for free with new equipment, new crew, and so on.
Wow.
But we set up everything: machinery, engine room, bridge manual, spare parts, inventory. As long as you have the inventory in some sort of Excel or anything else, we'll integrate that into YMP for you. And then, of course, ISM, FFA, drawing certificates. And the same goes with accounting. These prices were made before accounting. If you guys have accounting reports from a previous software or previous Excel, if you put it on the Google Drive that you give it to us, we'll put it into the accounting as well, and we'll backdate it. That way you won't lose any history. And we'll do the same with the service report for the engine room. All your current service history will go in, we'll create the jobs, and we'll backdate it, so you won't lose any history. It will stay in YMP, and you'll have the full picture in YMP as soon as you get started. Nice. So under 40 meter, 5,000, 40 to 60, 7.5, and over 60, 15.5. And I think you guys were over 40, but Johnny gave I don't know what the price was, he said, because I haven't been there long with Pete. I think the captain from Pieces and Johnny met when he was down setting up some other clients. So I actually haven't talked with the crew members on Pieces yet.
Yeah. I think that's where they're at. Yeah, that's the pricing.
Yeah. Okay. Great. That is, of course, premium onboard installation is where we come on board and set up everything. And I get it if you're a 95 meter and you have 4 or 5 engineers that you like to have a guy on board for 2 weeks to play around with the crew, to make sure that everything is correct. In your case, because when we install this program, we work on our computers. So it's the same process if we're sitting on board or if we're sitting at our office. Sure. It's the exact same work. The only difference is are we on board to answer questions. But of course, they can always call us and ask questions or watch the tutorials.
Yep.
So I usually recommend, don't tell the owner I've said this, I usually recommend this because you guys save half the money, and for us, it's a lot easier as well. In theory, we could start tomorrow. All we need is the files from you guys, and then you'll be up and running in 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But if we had to book a guy and book flights and book hotels, and the crew have to have someone running around on board for 2 or 3 weeks, it's going to take a lot longer.
Sure.
So it's a lot smoother, a lot easier transition, a lot easier process if it's remotely. But of course, I'm not going to stop anyone from buying the premium and having us on board. I'm just, if we're not up in those like really excessive sizes, 80, 90, 100 meters, I'll just say save half the money for you guys. You can get it for much less money, and you'll be up and running a lot quicker. And that's just me trying to give the best advice, because the most important thing for me is that you guys are going to be happy. And in 1 year's time, when I ask how YMP has been, you're going to say you have really elevated our whole maintenancing and a lot of the processes on board. And that's the most important thing for me, because I know in 10 years' time that will be a lot more valuable than an extra 5,000-10,000 right here, right now.
Yeah. Very well done.
Fantastic. I'll add you here as a crew member on my boat. Then you'll have access to everything that we've just looked through here on your own computer. You can log in. I can do it with you straight away. And then you guys can try and play around with it. And feel free to do anything. It's a fake boat, so you can't do any harm. Just don't order. Don't order from actual suppliers, because that will actually go to the suppliers.
That's fair.
So just write JP as first name.
JP, and then you can do Grand Staff or Fairport or whatever you like.
Yeah, I'll just do JP Fairport. And email. What email would you like to use?
jp.fairport or jp. my last name .grandstaff, which is GRAN for November, Sierra Tango Alpha Foxtrot at fairportglobal.com.
.global. .com.
No, just Fairport.
No
yeah,
dot.
no dot, just fairportglobal.com.
Okay, so like this.
Yep, that's it.
Fantastic. I'll make you admin so there will be no restrictions, and captain here. There we go. Then you'll receive an email now. It will say, welcome to YMP. Along those lines, there will be a link. The username will be your email, and there'll be a one-time password. And then the first time you log in, it'll ask you to create your own, and then you can just create whatever you want.
Excellent.
And then you'll have access to everything that we've just been through here.
I'm really excited. It's like Christmas morning for me.
I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear. And it definitely sounds like that we align a lot of the stuff that we've been focusing on.
Yeah.
Sounds like the stuff that you guys have been looking for.
Yeah.
So like it sounds like a partnership would be great.
100%.
It would be very beneficial for us. And I hope to be in the States sometimes next year. We have a few in Fort Lauderdale that we work with, and recently in New York as well. So we're talking about sending me over there. So I'll be sure to let you know.
100%.
You may not. I'm guessing you're in Fort Lauderdale, right?
Fort Lauderdale, yeah, right here. So if you're in Fort Lauderdale, stop by. I'll take you out to lunch and show you around I call it Fort Lauder Mercy because it's crazy here, but I think you would enjoy it.
Oh, I am sure I would. I've only been in the States. That's a while ago. That was back in college, school trip for a couple of months. DC and North Carolina.
Yeah, North Carolina.
It was actually in the first time Trump ran.
Oh yeah, back
it was
in 2016. Yeah, 2015.
Yeah,
2016.
It was. I remember we were all staying with different host families, and we're all like, "Ooh, are we going to be living in a Trump family, or are we going to be living in a Clinton family?"
Yeah.
So it was a different. With the new election, how are you feeling? It's a bit of a mixed emotions over there. I could imagine.
I'm a Trump guy. You know what I mean? I was super excited for his win.